Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and I'm going to do an inspection on my home hive here. Last time I did an inspection on it was about 3 weeks ago, and I added the second super on it just after I moved it. So what I'm trying to find out here is, it's late August. You can hear the construction still going on next door, so maybe I'll just speak up, get a little closer to the microphone. Yeah, late August, so I want to make sure that she's still laying well. She had incredible brood patterns last time. This is the hive that I split from my gangbuster hive in the country and brought over here to the city. That's been doing really well so far, but I want to see that the second brood box is being filled out. Observing the bees, they're bringing in a lot of stores. They're really busy. So hopefully the queen is still good and laying, and they've expanded that second brood box. And now it's a matter of preparing the bees for fall and winter, right? Making sure they've got good stores, good numbers of bees, and just making sure that things are good, doing a mite treatment soon. So thanks for joining me on 4D Honeybee. Okay, so I'm going to have a look here now, and again, the hope is that they filled out this second brood box and started to fill in all the frames there. Now, I'm going to show you something interesting, a couple of interesting things here that I find. Anyway, now that I've got this hive at home, I'm able to observe them more. It seems that for some reason, these bees always congregate on this side of the entrance, right? There's always a cluster there. No idea why that is, but there's always a cluster there. It doesn't matter what time of the day or what activity is going on. They always prefer to use that side of the hive, coming in and out. Also, these bees don't really use that upper entrance much. You'll see it once I remove the outer lid here, the telescoping lid. There's an entrance right under here, and they barely use it at all, so don't know why. Another interesting thing, I was debating about water and feeding, and I set up a feeder there, right there, but they weren't really using it. They ended up finding their water on their own, as I pretty much figured they would in the city. There's always a water source. But I discussed it with my kids and with my mom, and my mom is a generation removed from beekeeping. They used to beekeep in the old country, and she set this up right here. Look at this. She just set this up because I was away last week, and she was all concerned that the bees didn't have water. So she set that up just as a little lid there with a couple of rocks on it so that the bees could get their water. Pretty funny. So anyway, everybody cares about the bees here. So let's see what we've got here. Decent number of bees on the lid. Always a good sign, I think, when you see a good number of bees up here. Now these bees started off really dark, but they seem to be a lot lighter now. I don't know if it's just the new bees that are coming on or the young bees, but anyway, they used to be remarkably dark to me, and now they seem to be pretty light in color. I'm going to smoke them a little bit. This hive has been really, really well behaved. But just better not to take chances and get them thinking of something other than me right now. There's a good number of bees up top. Some burr comb, which I don't mind. Drives people crazy. But I don't mind them building burr comb. Now next year I'm going to try a different inner lid that will eliminate this, but for now I don't go replacing it because they're just going to build it right back out again. So why have them use that energy twice? Looking for the queen on here. I don't see her, so we'll go inside and start to look at these frames. Okay, what I see right off the bat is there's a good concentration of bees on 1, 2, 3 frames. Okay, I'm going to give you the same bird's eye view as I've got. See, these outside frames are pretty barren, but you can see lots of bees around these frames. And I brought a couple of frames up. I probably brought these 2 frames up from below and checkered them with this frame. That's probably why here's where we have the concentration. Doesn't look like there's much of a buildup at all on the outside 6 frames, so that could become an issue for winter because you know, you don't want to make it too big of an area, a nest area that they have to keep warm. In the ideal situation, for me at least, I would do 2 or 3 outside frames of honey, and then, you know, 6 or 5 or 6 frames of the nest for the bees inside. So we're just going to remove these outer frames. There's not going to be too much to look at here. They're not even touched right now. See that? Not even drawn out. Which is okay. I mean, if this were late October, then I might be a little more concerned about that. But they're getting up here. Now this is a nice frame that came from the bottom here. Let's see what we got. Okay. It's a nice frame for laying here. Wide. It looks like it's a frame that's hatched out because you see there's still unhatched brood just on the inside. She lays from the inside out, almost in concentric rings. So this is a frame that they're probably getting ready to be able to fill with new brood, which is a great sign. Good to see. It's got honey on the tops and on the sides. It's pretty much the same on this side. Yet I'm looking for the queen. I'm not too hell-bent on finding her today. I need the practice, so I really should try to find her every time. But what I want to see, more than the queen herself, is I want to see the good signs that she's right and laying, right? So I'm going to want to see good brood and good production. I got the feeling that's what we're going to find here in this hive. Okay, so this is the blank frame that I put in between the 2 brood frames that I brought up from the bottom. And it's not really been worked on much either. Let's see, it's starting to get drawn out. Right in the middle here. It's drawn out in this area here, but still down to the plastic on the outsides. And this side is pretty much drawn out. So they'll get ready to, she should be ready to lay in here soon, which is great news. Let's see what's going on in the next frame. Once I get through the next frame, then I'll head down to the lower brood box to see what's going on there. That's where there should be some good action. Wow, this one is heavy. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So they've got nectar going on in this frame. See that? Just full of nectar. Let's see the other side. Same story, all nectar on this frame. So I'll have a quick look for the queen here. I don't see her. Okay, so that's going to be it for this box. Now, as far as my inspection goes, she could be up here, and they could be, the queen could be up in the second brood box, but I doubt it. It seems like most of the action is probably going on below. So we'll get into that second brood box now and see how it's doing. Yeah, this top brood box is very light. I mean, if we were going into winter now, I would eliminate that second brood box, combine them down into one, and just go with that. You can see the second brood box is doing pretty well. Again, based on this cluster of bees over here, you could expect to find the queen over here. Not always an accurate method, but something that has worked for other people on their videos. It's going to give them a bit of smoke to get them off the top. These bees have a very good nature, and I haven't had much in the way of issues with them. I'm going to remove the second frame in here. Usually I like to remove the end frames because it gives me more room to work, but in this case the end frame is incredibly drawn out. It is so thick, so heavily drawn out, that I don't want to mess with it. It's probably going to be easier to pull this one. Okay. Just going nice and easy so that I don't roll the queen here. So here's a frame that's getting drawn out as well. Someone mentioned not to put the frames, not to sit the frame like this on the other frames. Can't really remember why. Other than the possibility of squishing bees, I can't remember the logic they used not to do that. So anyway, just building this one out gradually as well. Nothing really to write home about here. Let's look for the queen now. Lots of little bees here. Lots of new bees. They seem like they're moving a lot. You know what I mean? Like they seem like they're, I wouldn't say agitated, but they're moving quite a bit. It may just be that that's a result of the inspection in general, because they don't get inspected much, keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to show you this frame here, because it is an amazingly full and wide honey frame. It looks awesome from the top view. Look at this view here. There are a ton of bees on here. And look, I said it's a honey frame, but it's actually a brood frame. Look, there's older brood on there. There's a nice pattern of brood right here. Look at that. And so that's a little strange. It's strange to have brood on the very outside frame. That's usually the frame that is a honey frame. So again, for this time, at this point, I'm not concerned about it at all. We want there to be bees, and we want there to be number of bees increasing, right? So we want to see brood, and we want to see hatching, but we also want to see resources, right? And we also need to balance those resources. If this were October, I'd be putting honey frames on the outside here to act as insulation for these bees to get through winter. So right now, not seeing any honey frames up top, I am a little concerned about the amount of honey that they have right now. Now we don't get any kind of dearth here. And I especially think that in the city, we're even more immune to that. But, so they're still bringing in lots of pollen, lots of nectar. But it may be that I will want to feed this hive soon. Look at that incredible brood pattern here. Wow. This queen is just stellar. Look at that. Just chocker block full with brood. So is this side. My goodness. Just incredible. So yeah, for now, again, as far as bees and number of bees and brood, I think this hive is going to be fine. As far as resources, I'd put a note on this hive that says that right now it's pretty shy of honey, and it's pretty shy of built-out, drawn-out comb. My goodness, look at this brood frame. I mean, I don't recall seeing such absolutely solid brood patterns, like very, very few individual holes, and those are filled with nectar, so it's not like they're wasting anything. This queen is just stellar. And this one isn't as good as the other side, but there's still a lot of brood on there. Oh, there's the queen. Is that her? No, that's not the queen. I thought this was the queen right here. She had a pretty large body. You see her right there? It's not though. Keep looking for a queen. You tell me if you spot her, because usually you're better at spotting her than I am. Wow. Good number of bees in this hive. The bottom is just broiling with bees. Well-natured bees to boot. There's just no room for me to work on these bees because there's so many of them, so I'm going to smoke them down just a little bit. Get out the way. Get out the way. Come on. Thank you. It's a lighter frame here, so this is probably one that has been recently hatched, and they're just probably preparing for the queen to lay in here. So, and that is the case because you can see unhatched brood just on the outside. You see that unhatched brood on the outside? So it's hatched from the inside out, and they're just probably preparing the cells for another round of laying by the queen. So let's make sure that she is not in this frame. Another nice brood frame that's hatching out. Whoa, wasp trying to come in there. Let's see what they do with it. Fight that off. Wow, look at that brood frame, my goodness. Now here's the thing that that always is questionable, right? They've got some queen cups happening, and I'm gonna destroy them just because I don't want them getting any ideas. Okay. Now that one didn't have any eggs in it, neither does this one. And this one was empty as well, so still just prefer them not to be there. There's another one here, so it's amazing. One frame with 4 queen cups. Look at this. And I guess they just put them there just in case. But if the queen's doing well and she has room to lay, I'm just going to remove those so that they don't get tempted. May be logical, may not be, but I think you can't go wrong in removing them if everything's looking good with this hive. Look at this little puppies here. Goodness, this frame is just incredibly heavy. And it looks like it's incredibly heavy with honey on this side. Honey on this side, as you can see, all honey and nectar. Some spotted brood. And on this side, all brood. I mean, this thing weighs a lot. It's incredible. Looking for the queen here. Nope. Another frame that's just being built out and filled as she goes. See, there's already a ton of nectar in there. Okay, last frame to pull, and then we'll button it back up. Overall, the assessment right now is that it's an excellent hive. It's still doing really well. I'm just a little concerned about the lack of individual honey frames in this hive. There should be, by now, at least 4 or 5 frames that are just packed with capped honey. And there really isn't much. There's plenty of nectar, though. And it may be that the fix to this is just to get feeding this hive sooner than later, just to make sure they've got that resource. I mean, and as I say that, here's another frame that on this side is a combination of nectar and honey, and on the other side it is capped honey. So not too bad, nothing to worry about with this hive. It would have been nice for me to see the queen, but I'm pretty weak at that. I have no doubt she's in there, and she was there and I just missed her. But this hive is doing well for late August. I'm happy with it. Next things to do probably are going to be mite treatment soon and feeding soon. And I have to coordinate those because not all mite treatments can be done while you're feeding the bees. So that's it for me. This is my my home hive, the one that I spun off, my Gangbusters hive, which has done really well in the country, and right now it's doing great in the city. Look at them. There's a ton of bees out there. And thanks for joining me on 4D Honeybee.